Hey guys, it is May 15th and I wanted to come and encourage you with 3 ways that you can make a difference in the life of a teenager. This could be Sunday, Wednesday, or at camps, but I'm gonna do this in 3 minutes. So 3 tips in 3 minutes, here we go. The first thing I want to challenge you to do is to be a greeter. And I don't mean, stand at the door and hold the door open and say hi and high five kids, although that's great. You're welcome to do that as well. But I mean in the sense of sometimes when we're walking through the hall and it's going from one thing to the next, or maybe we see a kid that we don't really have any involvement with, I want to challenge you to say hi to them as well. In fact, if you were to say their name, what the stats show us is that kid feels valued, that kid feels known, that kid feels loved. When you're like, hey, how's it going, James? How's it going, Susie? And that's surface level, and surface level is okay right there. I want you to be able to go deep in your small groups, and especially with the students in your small group and kind of the hangout time. But if you are walking through the halls and you're within like 10 feet of a kid, go ahead and greet them, even if they're not in your small group. And again, especially if you can call them out by name, that's even better. 2, we're moving right along. Ask good questions. Good questions mean that you're gonna have to go beyond how is school, how was the test, and all that kind of stuff. Because if you've got a high schooler like I do, you're gonna get fine, it was good. I've got one kid in my home that if I ask, did anything noteworthy happen? He's gotten used to the fact that he knows I'm gonna ask it. And so he has a story queued up. But it's interesting, when I say, how was school? He says, good. Anything noteworthy happen? And then I get the story. So you kind of have to ask the question behind the question. Maybe you know what's going on in their life because you have a little bit of relational equity with them. That's the time to dive in and have those conversations as well. But be a good question asker. That curiosity, I believe, will translate to the student that you care. So be a good question asker. Third, and this is maybe my favorite today, is to include and connect. Here's what I mean by that. We have students who automatically isolate themselves. They might go into the worship center kind of before things start, sit at a table by themselves, pull out their device, and just scroll for the 30 minutes before we start the program. I've also noticed that sometimes a kid walks in, is kind of looking for conversation, but doesn't quite know how to strike one up themselves. But then there's the kids who have been here and done that, and they have their friends. And sometimes what we need to do is to connect groups of people that might not connect by themselves. I'll tell you a quick story. We had a guest show up, first time ever, and Nikki was trying to connect her to kind of what is happening and your small group and small group leaders and all that kind of stuff. But she picked up in the girl's story that she's into, and I think it was anime. And she said, oh, I know the kids at this table are into anime. And then she walked the student over and introduced them. And it wasn't like, she likes anime, you like anime. That may be awkward, but it was a good connection. And that student, their first time, had people that they had kind of likes and dislikes that were the same. And so I think it's good if you include and connect. It'll help with some of our students who are in cliques. It'll help with some of our students who are feeling isolated. And it's just a great way to be a leader who's connecting students, especially those who want to be connected, but just don't know how yet. Overall, here's what I'm asking you to do. Be personal, right? Show up and be in their face. I know we love to talk to each other on Sundays and Wednesdays, but let's push past that and let's have conversations with students. Let's greet them, let's ask good questions, and let's include and connect them to other groups of Hub students. Super appreciate you. Just wanted to give you 3 tips in 3 minutes. Hope I did it. I didn't quite catch it. I probably went over. Classic Mark. Anyway, thank you for serving. Appreciate you so much.